Shut up, it's starting.
They say that art is one of those things in life you either get or you don't. When you look at a masterpiece, you're supposed to feel something, and that's the whole point of art. Now, I understand why the Mona Lisa, Starry Night, The Scream, The Last Supper, I understand and get why they're masterpieces. But for the top 10 paintings that I collected for this list, I gotta say, I'm dumbfounded at best, and it's safe to say I really don't get it. Nope, totally don't get this.
God, it's beautiful. I'm an artist.
So they say that a picture is worth at least 1,000 words, but I'm hard-pressed to find any more than 2 words in this painting, and it's the same word backwards and forwards, if you can't see it. Painted by Christopher Wool, or possibly traced, I really don't know, I'm not an art guy. This work doesn't even have a name, and is lovingly referred to as Riot. I bet you can guess why. Created in 1994, it last changed hands at Sotheby's auction house in 2015 for $29.9 million. You heard me right, don't adjust your hearing. For just a smidge under $30 million, someone paid a small fortune for an untitled painting. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. And I gotta say, there's probably a really funny joke here to be made about how this guy's last name is Wool and how people in the art world are considered to be sheep, but I'm just the pretty face of this organization. I don't write the material.
I'm an artist.
One Man 6 is a painting done by artist Barrett Newman that was done in 1953. And the craziest part to me, one man is an actual word. I had to look it up because I wasn't sure. Turns out it is. Anyway, I said all that because clearly there's not a lot going on in this painting. So I'm not going to sit here and bore you with a detailed description of what it's about. But art critics in the 1950s had that type of gall, and they called this painting shocking and enticing, saying that the thin blue line is a sign of human presence, which I guess makes sense because without a human being present, how'd the blue line get painted? But regardless of what I think and snappy comments that I can make, in 2013, this painting seized $43.8 million. And for my money, that stumps me. Because from what I've seen of the painting, I have better painted walls in my house.
I'm an artist.
Kazimir Malevich was a Russian avant-garde artist who was born in the 1880s. For anyone who doesn't know, avant-garde is just a fancy word for saying he was a bit of a nonconformist. So you're welcome. In the 19-teens, Malevich actually wrote a 4,000-word manifesto in which he outlined the key ideas and the trajectory he expected his art movement to be taking. This painting, Supremacist Manifesto, blue rectangle over red beam, is supposed to be the pictorial form of that manifesto in which people in the art community claim you can actually read the manifesto from the painting. But I'm a bit skeptical about that. The painting is supposed to have a sordid past, being trapped in West Berlin for a long time, but in 2008, it was actually returned to Malevich's heirs, who promptly sold the piece at the Sotheby's auction for $60 million. So it seems like it was a smart idea for them, and it actually gives new meaning to the term priceless family heirloom.
I'm an artist.
If you've never heard of Mark Rothko before, you're in good company. I hadn't either, but his name comes up on the list more than once, so just put it in your pocket and remember it. A Latvian immigrant to the United States in 1913 with his family, he went through a few different artistic phases and worked looking at the second one, which focused heavily on geometry. Now, those in the art world say that this painting right here is such a big deal because of the way the brush strokes appear and the way the colors play off of each other. It's supposed to evoke something in you. Not only does it not evoke anything in me other than envy, it makes my head hurt when I look at it. But that didn't stop it in 2014 from selling for $66 million to an anonymous buyer. Now, I'm just an average guy, but I'm willing to bet money the reason they were an anonymous buyer is because of the fact that if their spouse had found out that they spent this kind of coin on a painting that most people could have done, I think they'd have killed them.
I'm an artist.
Next up, we're talking about Mark Rothko and his shapes again. See, I told you he comes up on this list more than once. Insightfully titled Orange, Red, Yellow. I know, it's not great, but this one has a title. The guy's trying. It's another supposed masterpiece. What the viewer is supposed to do is look at each one of the rectangles here and then see how the colors compare, contrast, and play off of each other. But whenever I look at this, all I can actually focus on is the fact that someone was willing to pay, maybe or maybe not with a gun to their head, $86.8 million for this piece. And I'm not one to brag, but I'm almost positive that in second or third grade, I did an exact replica of this with building blocks. So maybe I've got some artistic promise in me.
I'm an artist.
The next work on our list is also untitled, but I'm willing to extend an olive branch on this one, because to be honest with you, that looks like a pen ran out of ink, so maybe he wanted to give it a title, but he just didn't have any more ink left in his studio. Created by Edwin Parker, also known as Cy Twombly, this is a painting that comes from a series called the Blackboard series. Standing 13 feet tall, the painting, not the artist, he actually sat on his friend's shoulders and had them walk parallel to the canvas as he would make his elaborate scribbles. And this painting is yet another example of how it doesn't really matter what I think, in my humble opinion, because it went at Sotheby's for $70.5 million. And it makes me think, you know what, maybe I'm just being too jaded about this whole art thing. So with that in mind, let's start the bidding at, say, $5 million. Contact me for details if you're interested.
I'm an artist.
Now to me, Jasper Johns sounds like a food franchise that should be competing alongside with Jimmy John's and Papa John's, but I think this list is already established. I'm just a simpleton who doesn't get it. Because Jasper Johns is actually an abstract expressionist artist, and this is his false start painting, one of his more famous works that in 1959 changed the trajectory of his career pretty rapidly. Now it's one of the busier paintings on our list, but that doesn't change the fact that it looks like it's something most of us could accomplish more on accident than on purpose. But again, it doesn't matter what we think, what I think or feel, because it didn't stop Ken Griffin, who actually made another one on my list for top 10 most expensive homes in the world, from buying it for $80 million. And I know that's a lot of money, but it also got hammered by the critics pretty hard, who claimed that this painting should more likely have been called false art. Oh, I get it. That's funny.
I'm an artist.
Our next piece, called Blackfire 1 by Barrett Newman, another guy on this list more than once, is actually supposed to be placed in the abstract category of art. Although to my simple untrained eye, it seems pretty straightforward to me. Finished in 1961, although I can't imagine it took more than a couple days to complete this entire thing, it's actually supposed to be the fact that the black bleeds into the tan just a little smidge that actually makes this piece talk. And talk it did to some blessed soul who bought the piece for $84 million. And I'm going to come clean to you guys here. The more pieces I see like this on high-end lists that I know I could duplicate myself, the more I feel like I'm going to try my hand in the high-priced art world if hosting a YouTube channel doesn't work out for me.
I'm an artist.
Created in 1953 by William de Kooning, this might be the best example of talent we have on our list, but I might just be saying that because I'm tired. I can't tell anymore. Part of a 6-painting series, which is where the name Woman 3 comes from, this is an oil painting which is clearly abstract. And while de Kooning claimed to have very careful and tactful brushstrokes, seriously, that's what he claimed, this painting makes my eyes water in a bad way. However, it made somebody else's eyes water in a good way, as they paid $137.5 million for the piece. And that number alone makes so many questions pop up in my head. But I think for all of them, the most burning and prominent question is, did de Kooning ever see a woman when he painted this? Look at that face.
I'm an artist.
Alright, I have a confession to make. When I look at this painting right here, I do feel something. However, I'm not sure what that something is. Number 5 by Jackson Pollock is not exactly a painting that screams mastery when you look at it. It doesn't exactly jump off the canvas. For that matter, when you hear the name, it doesn't actually resonate with creativity either. Something tells me he did number 5 right after he got done doing number 4. To drive the point home, Jackson admitted that he did no pre-planning for the piece of art, and that he actually used everything from paintbrushes to sticks to basting syringes to apply the paint. Nevertheless, in 2006, somebody was willing to pay $140 million for the artwork, and at that time, $140 million was enough to make this the most expensive painting on earth. So it looks like in Jackson Pollock's case, planning can go right out the window, because throwing stuff at a wall and seeing what sticks was the right decision for him. So believe it or not, Jackson Pollock's number 5 only enjoyed 5 years with the title of most expensive painting in the world before someone paid $250 million for Paul Cézanne's Card Players, which, if you've never seen it, it's right here, and it's basically what it looks like when I look at a painting without my glasses on. So here's more videos for you guys to watch, but I'm going to be honest, unless you want to see my art unleashed on the world, watch these videos. You'll be doing everyone a favor.